We are going to start our presentation, and what we ask is if there's any questions along the way, if you can pop them in to the little Q&A box, and we will answer at the end. But I'm really pleased to be able to introduce Jessie Downs from Tourism Australia. The accent will give it away. So I am going to pass over to her. Relax, enjoy, and take as much information as you can of this wonderful destination.
Great. Thank you so much, Shubra. So hi, everyone. As Shubra mentioned, my name is Jessie. I am one of the Aussie specialist trainers at Tourism Australia. I am Australian. I am from the Sunshine Coast, but I am currently living in London. So if you see me around at different Tourism Australia events, no, I haven't flown all the way from Australia, just come out of London. Before I get into this session, I just want to start by paying my respects to the traditional owners of country on which we're going to be talking about today, so the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, and I want to pay my respects to their elders past, present and future, and their continuing connection to the land, waters and community. So what we're going to do today is I am going to do a brief overview of our states. I'm not going to do any of the basics. You guys know the Sydney Rock and Reef itineraries. I'm going to do a quick overview of a few of our states, and then I'm going to go into a few different themes for some of them. So we're going to talk about culture in the NT, and we've also got a great new signature walk there. I'm going to go through some of the lesser known islands off the southern Great Barrier Reef off Queensland. I'm going to talk a little bit about different things that you can do in Sydney, because Sydney we know is always on a lot of people's itineraries. And then I'm also going to talk about wine in SA, one of my favourite topics ever. So I'm going to start with Western Australia, our largest state. So over 300 days of sunshine per year in the capital city of Perth. Now, Perth, if you haven't been to Perth in a while, it's had a bit of a resurgence. So there's been lots of new development, lots of new hotels. So there's actually been 28 new hotels developed since 2016. So it's just going through this massive push of tourism. When you send your clients to Western Australia, you are going to send them down to Fremantle off of Perth for some coastal relaxation. You're going to send them across to Rottnest Island to see the adorable quokkas, as you can see in that middle bottom photo there as well. Western Australia, because of its size, has every kind of landscape basically. So it's got those rocky coastlines around the Coral Coast, those spectacular gorges up in the Kimberley, and the white sand beaches down. You can see Lucky Bay. That photo from Lucky Bay is one of our most famous. I'm sure you've seen that before, where the kangaroos jump all down the beach as well. You've got the Margaret River region, so the southwest down the coast from Perth, over 200 wineries and known for its gourmet dining and really great chocolate in that region too. Ningaloo Reef is something that I know you guys would all know massively. You swim with the whale sharks. It's actually some of the gold standard of whale shark tourism in the world, which is really fantastic. A lot of the money that goes into the tourism there goes directly back into the whales conservation, which we love to see. World's largest fringing reef, meaning that you can swim directly off the beach into the reef, which is amazing too. The photo on the bottom left is Hutt Lagoon, not edited, pink, beautiful. Really fun fact is that the algae that makes that lake pink is actually the same algae that turns lipstick red, which we love to hear as well. Finally, the Golden Outback, which is where you're going to find like that Esperance region as well, is really popular for a self-drive route. There's one of my favorite self-drive routes down there is called the Southwest Edge, which takes you down from Perth all the way down the bottom out to Esperance and then back up through the Golden Outback in the middle. So you're going to get a really great taste of all of the landscapes of WA in that route too. So just a quick little overview of WA. We don't have a lot of time, so I am going to be brushing through this all quickly as well, and I look forward to hearing some of your questions at the end too. On to our littlest state next, if you can see it maybe. Canberra. So I love Canberra. I think Canberra is a really underrated region. If you have families or if you have clients who are really wanting to feel like a local in a destination, this is the perfect spot. I always call Canberra, it's like a history and family lovers paradise. So it's obviously got all of our major historical points, obviously our Parliament House, our War Memorial, and then it's also got heaps and heaps of free activities for children and families as well. Because it is home to our Parliament House and our politicians go down there regularly, it has an incredible food scene. The restaurants in Canberra are super underrated, and the coffee there too is some of the best. There's also 40 cellar doors within 30 minutes of the city. So it means like if you're traveling down into Canberra, potentially you have clients who are going, doing the inland route from Sydney down to Melbourne. There's heaps of those little wineries that you can stop off along the way or even do a day out from the city too. I recommend 1 to 2 nights in Canberra. It's kind of like that maximum. One's great, 2 days, 1 night as well. Also, it's definitely a city that you're going to want to get a bike and walk around, bike and ride around the lake there. You can see kangaroos and wombats and koalas in their natural habitats there too, which is really cool and really unique for quite a city centre too. On to perhaps our coolest, inverted commas, coolest state. So Victoria, Melbourne is definitely the cool city of Australia. It is known for its incredible sporting scene, whether that's the Formula One Grand Prix. If you have clients down there, make sure you get them to the tennis if they're there during the Aussie Open, or definitely to an AFL game, an Australian rules football game. The atmosphere alone really gets you under that skin of that Aussie feeling as well. As I mentioned, there is heaps of cool things to do in Melbourne. So cool coffee shops, with tattooed baristas, cool rooftop bars and cool hidden gems, experimental cocktails, and then also obviously the laneways. Definitely get your clients out to do a tour of the beautiful laneways and the street art that's all down there as well. Regional Victoria also has so much to offer, especially if you're self-driving. Victoria is obviously such a small state that it makes it perfect for driving around. You can see so much. Definitely getting your clients out into the regions is a must. So historical towns, coastal drives, perhaps getting them down to the Mornington Peninsula, which is full of hot springs and beaches and wineries. It's a really fantastic romantic destination. 3 different sets of friends who I know who got married last year all went to the Mornington Peninsula for their honeymoon. So if that kind of tells you what the locals are doing in that region as well. Other popular day trips from Melbourne include the Yarra Valley for wine, Phillip Island, which I know you would all know from the famous little penguin parade, which happens every night, and to see those adorable penguins in their natural habitats as well. And then obviously the Great Ocean Road, you can't miss it. It's one of the most popular. I'm actually doing it for the first time at the end of this month, which I'm super excited about. So next webinar I can jump on and really deep dive that into for you as well. Tassie, now I hope a lot of you are learning more and more about Tasmania. So I think it's becoming one of those regions that people internationally are realizing why locals have been traveling to Tasmania for such a long time. It's got everything from this kind of untouched wilderness to a really awesome art scene, to great golf, as my dad tells me, and to wine, whiskey, produce. We kind of call it this rugged foodie destination. Another thing I really love to note is if you've heard of the Great Walks of Australia. So there are 13 Great Walks of Australia and 6 of them are located in Tasmania. So if that tells you anything about that hiking, walking scene, I mean, it's pretty impressive. You can see that Wineglass Bay, that top photo there, that's one of the most photographed places in Tasmania. And you can see why from that photo as well. In terms of doing these walks, I always recommend doing them with a little bit of luxury, but that's maybe how I like to travel myself. So when you're doing these signature walks, you can either do them self-guided or with a company. And if you do them with a company, you don't have to carry all your belongings for the day. They'll transport it to the next, accommodation that you're staying in. You'll get a little ice bath for your feet and a glass of champagne on arrival. So that's definitely the way I like to do my hiking holidays as well. Another really quirky thing about Tasmania is the whiskey scene. The whiskey scene is really quite incredible. And it's actually quite funny because it was illegal to distill alcohol on the island up until 1990. And so because of that, it's really interesting that it has some of the best whiskey that you can find. Okay, on to New South Wales, Sydney, the capital. I don't need to say much about Sydney. Obviously, for first timers, you're going to have the Bridge Climb, Sydney Opera House. They'll probably stay at the Rocks precinct. But if you have people who are heading down to Australia over and over again and they still want to include Sydney on their itineraries, which a lot of people do, I do recommend that they get out into the regions and also try and stay somewhere a bit different in Sydney, whether that's the Surrey Hills area or even down at Bondi. There's a few new hotels down in the Coogee, Eastern Beaches area too, which you should check out as well. Getting out into the regions either on a day trip, so Blue Mountains, you'll see the Three Sisters, the Hunter Valley, which is Australia's oldest wine region. I always think that these regions are better overnight, but if they don't have a lot of time, you can still do them as a day trip. There's some exceptional operators that can take them out there. If you head down south from Sydney, you'll get to the south coast, so Jervis Bay, which is one of my favourite areas to do a self-drive, whether that's in a camper van or you go and stay in one of the beautiful accommodations they have down there. It's got this really local feel, great little coffee shops, great little markets and things like that. If you go up the coast the other way from Sydney, you'll hit Port Stephens. Port Stephens, you can see in that top photo, is a family fun destination. So you can do sandboarding, camel riding. Yes, we have camels in Australia. You can do ATV, quad biking, sandboarding there you can see. And it's got some really beautiful protected bays on the coast. So it makes it really great for young kids as well. Finally, the last destination I'm going to talk about in New South Wales is Byron. I'm sure you've all heard of Byron. It is Australia's kind of bohemian, precinct region. You're thinking yoga, organic acai bowls on the beach, drinks in the sunset, early morning sunrise walks to the lighthouse and things like that. It's really popular with young travellers and locals as well. Us locals, we travel there regardless of, can get quite busy in those peak seasons as well. So another great option for your clients, if they don't want to be in that massive tourist hub, is the Tweed region. The Tweed region gives you that really great, same relaxed, boutique-y feel at a fraction of the price. So definitely check that out. You've got really cool restaurants and breweries and boutique accommodation there too. I'm just going to stay on Sydney just a touch. I know you guys know this, but what I want to focus on is kind of seeing Sydney from a different perspective, giving your clients something different that they can do in Sydney. So seeing those iconic sites from a different perspective, whether that is actually climbing the Harbour Bridge or going on a tour in the Opera House or seeing a show within the Opera House. There's some fantastic either architecture tours or a history tour that you can do within. But one of my really cool favorite ones is definitely the sunrise kayak on the harbour. There's no one around, you can see all the sights from this different view that a lot of their friends would have never seen before as well. The last thing I want to touch on for Sydney is embracing the sunrise culture. I lived in Sydney for a long time and it definitely makes you want to get up early. So the most popular time to be at the beach and to be up awake in Sydney is between 5 and 6:30 a.m. So it definitely has a sunrise culture, telling your clients to kind of get up early, get down to the beach, go for a walk, go for a swim, grab a coffee. All of our coffee shops are going to be open at that time as well. It's definitely something they're going to want to lean into too. Okay, onto the Northern Territory. So for the Northern Territory, I'm going to focus a little bit on the culture and the new walk that we have too. But just to get started, so you can picture the state. The Northern Territory is broken up into two main regions, the top end, which is where you'll find Darwin, and then the red centre, which is where you'll find Uluru. So Darwin is our tropical capital city. You'll find warm nights, some of the most amazing sunsets I've seen in Australia, and a really interesting Asian influence on the cuisine and culture because of the proximity to Asia too. We've even got a Laksa festival up there. Yeah, it's a really awesome multicultural city. You'll find rich Aboriginal culture all throughout the Northern Territory, whether that's through galleries and street arts. And then Darwin is also the jumping off point to Kakadu and then Nitmaluk, which was previously known as Catherine Gorge, as well as Litchfield National Park. And I will always say that Litchfield is definitely the locals' pick for national parks in that region as well. Down into the red centre, you'll find Alice Springs and Uluru. Both obviously have airports for easy access. Alice Springs, if you have clients who are heading out to Uluru and they want to get a bit more of that history, Alice Springs kind of brings together that modern history of Central Australia, while you find that ancient cultural history out at Yulara, Uluru as well. I'm sure you all know this, but Uluru is absolutely massive, 350 metres tall. It's taller than the Shard here in London, and there's also no shortage of things to do. So there's over 100 activities around the actual precinct that you can do, whether that's segwaying around, riding your bike around, or having some dinners under the stars as well. While we're on Uluru, I'll just get to this one. The Field of Light. I'm sure this is something you've all seen before. It is beautiful. This is actually the 10-year anniversary of Bruce Munro's installation, and it is the size of 7 football fields. I don't know what kind of football that is, but 7 football fields. It's massive. It's absolutely huge. 50,000 glowing spheres of lights. You can walk through the installations. There are different sorts of passes that you can get, whether that's just like a short star pass, it's called. So you get drinks and canapes overlooking as the sun sets. And then get to walk through. Or I always recommend doing the Field of Light dinner, which includes a 3-course dinner. So it includes the drinks and canapes up on the hill as the sun's setting. And then you walk down onto the red sand and have your dinner with beautiful white tablecloths of 10 people. And you also get so many additional things with this. When I did this recently, there was just so many surprise and delights, and everyone we were with was just saying, oh, there's more, just learning so much. There was a gentleman talking about the beautiful stars in the sky. There was a didgeridoo performance, and the food was 10 out of 10. So definitely recommend doing that, and then just walking through the Field of Light as the sun is completely down. It just is really quite an immersive experience as well. Another experience I want to talk to you about that you may not have heard of is the Tiwi Islands. So this is a highly, if you have people who really want to be immersed in Indigenous culture, this is a really great option. So it's a highly personalized kind of cultural experience. It allows your clients to immerse themselves in one of the oldest and diverse cultures. So it's also super artistically driven. So right off the ferry, when they get there, they'll be met by their local guide, and they'll get to watch local artists and dancers perform traditional welcome to country and smoking ceremony. They'll have a traditional tea lunch with some like local community members as well, and you can ask lots of questions, and they're more than willing to answer anything, obviously in a respectful way, but they're there to teach your clients about the culture of the region as well. Yeah, there's some beautiful buildings in the region too, and they will also take part in a screen printing workshop. So this is definitely something that is a really beautiful experience, and it's really quite unique as well. Kind of on the opposite end, Kark in Kings Canyon is quite a different experience to the Tiwi Islands. It's definitely more of kind of gives a really great overview of the Indigenous culture of that region specifically. So it's about a 3-hour drive from Uluru, so Kings Canyon, which is where you can do a Kings Canyon rim walk. Yeah, if they're making an effort to get all the way out to Uluru, I think getting out to Kings Canyon is like that true outback experience as well. So set in Wataka, this Kark Indigenous experience is run by a brother and sister you can see in that photo, and they're really funny. They just bounce off each other, they, you know, interrupt each other, pay each other out, but then they're also teaching everything from dot painting, jewelry making, kind of bush tucker. They'll show the witchetty grubs and how they collect them, show them how they would use Indigenous tools and weapons, and it's really quite a short and immersive, quite educational upfront way of getting it. It's kind of your entry-level Indigenous experience in that region too. Finally, for the Northern Territory, I just wanted to touch on the new signature walk. So as I mentioned, out of the signature walks in Tasmania, there's 13. So this is the new Uluru Katajuda walk. So it is 5 days, 4 nights, 54 kilometers, and it walks through the national park, and it's the first guided walk that's been able to take you directly, to stay in the national park. So it's beautiful. It's kind of that luxury I was talking about. You get a great little ice bath for your feet at the end of the night, a glass of champagne. There's like a stargazing talk one night, and it's a really small group, so only 14 people as well. The accommodation itself is private eco tents, eco lodge. It's all environmentally sustainable, and you can see those beautiful images down the bottom too. And it's also obviously made in conjunction with the local Adanu traditional owners. So it's all done with that in mind as well. I will say about that walk, bookings are quite popular. So if you're wanting to book that for your clients, definitely focus on when that is and when the availability is, and then kind of plan the other itinerary around that. On to Queensland now. I'm just going to rush through some of our lesser known islands in the region. So I'm going to be focusing on the Southern Great Barrier Reef. So as you can see, I'm not sure if you can see, the map is quite small, but it's kind of almost where you can see that big whale jumping out, that Southern Great Barrier Reef region too. So I'm going to start with Lady Elliot Island. Lady Elliot Island has to be one of my personal favourite places to see the Great Barrier Reef from. You can see kind of in that middle photo, the island itself is quite small, and it's beautiful fringing reef, so it means that you can swim right off the beach into the reef itself. And you can see kind of in that image quite briefly is where the runway is, the runway for the planes. So getting to the island is by light aircraft. So scenic flights, you can either go from Bundaberg, Hervey Bay, Brisbane, or Gold Coast. So times ranging from about 30 minutes from Bundaberg to about just under an hour and a half from Brisbane to the Gold Coast. I will say it is a very light aircraft. So if you have clients who potentially aren't great with that, definitely getting them up to Bundaberg first before they have to get on that light plane is a must. The best time to visit Southern Great Barrier Reef is really amazing because it's a year-round destination. So unlike those really northern parts of the Great Barrier Reef, which potentially in summer you've got that kind of heavier afternoon rainfall, you get that a lot less so in the Southern Great Barrier Reef region. But obviously the experiences do change depending on what time of year you go. May to August is the peak season. So this is when the manta rays are out and about, and it's just beautiful underwater visibility. Spotting a manta ray, sorry, my lights just went off. Spotting a manta ray in this region is definitely a bucket list thing for me as well. November to March is also a great season, so turtle nesting and hatching. So that means you can see those baby turtles kind of, waddling down to the beach as they've hatched as well. And then the shoulder season is that April, September, October, fewer crowds, but awesome conditions. The great thing about Lady Elliot as well, it has varying levels of accommodation. So there's either glamping tents with bunk beds and things like that, or there's these eco kind of accommodation units or huts. So it's really great for everyone too. Lady Elliot Island is all about conservation. That's one big theme across the Southern Great Barrier Reef. So it's all about conservation, education, and citizen science. It's a really great opportunity for international visitors to get down there and kind of learn more about what's going on to regenerate the reef. And one tip I will give you, if people have questions about the reef health and things like that, the Great Barrier Reef has just reported its best coral health in the last 30 years, which is absolutely incredible. And it's honestly because of tourism. The money that tourism brings to the Great Barrier Reef goes directly back into the research, the conservation, and assisting it as well. So that's great. Lady Musgrave is kind of still on that citizen science theme too, but it's definitely more focused at families. Lady Elliot has kind of that quieter feel. Definitely kids can still go, but I will say that Lady Musgrave kind of has that more familyness in mind, I guess. So it's all about, very similar, you know, citizen science, those glass bottom boats. Again, you can get there from Bundaberg and the Great Barrier Reef. It's beautiful. You can see that bottom right-hand photo there where you can sleep underneath the reef and see people snorkeling past. It's absolutely beautiful. Yeah, it's all powered by wind and solar. It's all about coral regeneration, and people who visit there really get to learn about, yeah, what's going on in terms of reef conservation. Now, on the complete opposite end of what you can do in the Southern Great Barrier Reef is Pumpkin Island. So Pumpkin Island is a private island basically, and you book out the whole island. It's really quite amazing. I think it's one of Queensland's best kept secrets. So you get there from Yeppoon, which is right near Rockhampton, and it's really quite small. It's only 150 meters wide and 450 meters long. So again, solar powered, carbon positive, off grid, and things like that. You know, you've got these beautiful beach bungalows, which you can kind of see with those beautiful seats where you can sit and watch the ocean, watch no one else around you. There's reefs all around the island, so you can just swim out as well. There's glass bottom kayaks for everyone to use. And it's a really great place to just relax. So if you have family groups that would like to rent out something like this for something a little bit different, I just think this is such a unique opportunity to say that, you know, you've had your own private accommodation on the private island, on the Great Barrier Reef as well. Definitely recommending it. Yeah, again, it's really great most of the time of the year. But just kind of, you know, as you know, Australian school holidays can book up things a little bit quicker. But yeah, shoulder seasons, I think, are definitely the best for this region too. And it's only about a 30-minute ferry from the mainland. Okay, on to my favorite topic, as I mentioned, wine. Definitely South Australian wine is one of my favorites. Before I get into our main wine regions there, I just want to touch on kind of why South Australia is definitely one of Australia's best you know, hidden gems. So Adelaide is such an easy to navigate hub. It's such a great base for exploring those wine regions as well as the beautiful coastlines. So we call Adelaide the 20-minute city. So you're 20 minutes from the airport, you're 20 minutes from the beach, you're 20 minutes from the closest, you know, Adelaide Hills, the wine region. But definitely my recommendation for South Australia and Adelaide is to get out and see the wildlife. So obviously Kangaroo Island, which you know, but also checking out the Eyre Peninsula. A lot more people have been asking me about the Eyre Peninsula lately. And it's definitely kind of that marine wildlife haven. It's the best fish and chips I've also ever had in my life. So if you love fish and chips, definitely head down there. You can swim with sea lions. If you're brave enough, you can swim with great whites. They're much further off the mainland, but you can do that down there. Some incredibly freshly shucked oysters right off the beach. It's really quite a special place, and you can see that beautiful crystal clear blue waters down there as well. Now, our wine regions in SA. So there are over 200 cellar doors within 1 hour drive from Adelaide. So South Australia is known, Adelaide is known as one of the world's wine capitals of the world, which is super exciting. There are 18 wine regions, whether that's, you know, the delicious Riesling from the Clare Valley, the Barossa, which everyone knows, and McLaren Vale, which kind of has that coastal aspect to it as well. Yeah, it's just something different. Every wine region in South Australia is completely different and has great options for any clients, even if they're not massive into wine too. So I'm going to start with the closest. So the Adelaide Hills is the closest wine region to Adelaide. So it's only 20-minute drive from the CBD. That's the city. And it's kind of that cool climate wine region. So you've got the rolling hills, meaning that vineyards that are just 2 kilometers apart can have wildly different wines because of the angle of the slope and because of the direction of the sun and things like that. This region is known for whites more prominently. So whether that's Chardonnay or Chardy, as we call it, a Sauvignon Blanc or a Savvy B. My favorite Sauvignon Blanc in the whole world is from the Adelaide Hills. It's called Shaw and Smith, and you can actually buy it in Waitrose. So if you ever see it, definitely pick it up. the region is dotted with lots of little tiny homes and eco cabins as well. And one of the big selling points that people will drive out for from the city is Harndorf, which is kind of this tourist town. It's like a German-inspired tourist town. You kind of get the history of the region and why South Australia and Adelaide kind of has that very different feel to a lot of other places in Australia because of the European settlers there too. For those who aren't massive into wine, there are craft breweries and a really cool cider house there as well. One thing about this region, which I think is a really great selling point, is if you have clients who potentially don't want to stay in Adelaide, but they want to have that access to the city, but also to the wine regions, staying in the Adelaide Hills is also a really great option because, as I mentioned, it's only 20 minutes from the city. So Sequoia and Mount Lofty House are some of the most beautiful accommodation, beautiful views, beautiful service as well. Onto the Barossa Valley, which is obviously world famous. I'm sure most of you have heard of it. It's known for these big, bold reds, Shiraz, Cab Sav, Grenache. The world famous Penfolds is here. Penfolds has vineyards across many regions in South Australia, but the Barossa is where their big kind of tourist hub is. Guests can create their own blend here, which is one of the ultimate winery experiences. The Penfolds tourist kind of centre there is definitely a great kind of entry point for people who, if they're wanting to learn more about wine, they want to kind of tick off those winery experiences in South Australia, but perhaps they're not super into, learning about the soils and things like that. Penfolds is a really great option for them. Seppeltsfield Road is definitely somewhere that they are wanting to go. It's palm tree lined streets. It's one of the ultimate winery experiences as well, where you can taste your birth year of wine. So they've got the oldest lineage. Can't remember how long it dates back to, but the oldest lineage of vintage wines as well, which is great. Chateau Tanunda is great for people who want to learn more about the history. It's got this beautiful building, which is like a European castle, basically. And it's set in the Tanunda village, which has amazing restaurants. The second village that in that region as well is, I always say it wrong, I think it's Nuriupta. I love this town too because it has fantastic shopping. And every time I go there, I spend a little too much money on the beautiful boutiques there as well. And then finally, just Jacobs Creek too. Jacobs Creek is definitely also internationally recognized, kind of on a similar vein to Penfolds. And similar to the Penfolds kind of tourist hub, it's got great for people who are like that low entry point into wine tasting. So you can get a picnic hamper, go and sit out on the beautiful lawns that they have there. Yeah, really great and easy to understand tasting flights too. I did just want to throw in one more on the Barossa. As you can tell, I love the Barossa Valley. My favorite, probably in all of Australia, my favorite winery, vineyard, tasting restaurant is a place called Hentley Farm. It has the most incredible, beautiful cellar door in a beautiful old building, incredible wine, and just the most amazing meal I've ever had in my life. So if you ever have clients who really want that extra level of something special, Hentley Farm is the way to go. My next wine region is the McLaren Vale. It's kind of known as the cool kid of SA wines, and I will say this is where the locals love to go. As I mentioned, it's set on the coast, so you've got that beautiful green of the vineyards heading into that stunning blue ocean of South Australia. So it's 45 minutes from Adelaide. You go through McLaren Vale to get to Kangaroo Island as well. So if you have people who are self-driving down to Kangaroo Island, getting them to stop maybe even for a night before they go over to the island, or stopping for a lunch before they head on the ferry. This is a really great option as well. It's also a really great foodie paradise. I mean, I keep saying foodie paradise. All of SA is a foodie paradise, basically. So this region is really well known for quirky cellar doors. So whether that be the Darrenberg Cube, which I'm sure you've seen before, which is that one in that image there. It's arty, it's quirky, it's a little bit different. There's one called Down the Rabbit Hole, which is a cellar door in a converted double-decker bus. There's beautiful Chalk Hill Wines, which has just great alfresco dining out in the sun. My cousin actually got married there, so it's actually beautiful. And then McLaren Vale, for those who, again, aren't super into wine, is really well known for its gin. Never Never Distilling is a beautiful gin distillery. And yeah, it just has beautiful grounds. They do live music and things like that, so definitely check it out for that. I've just thrown in a restaurant here as well. As you can tell, I love my food and I love my wine, but Star of Greece is a really lovely restaurant. It's probably one of my favorites in this region. It's in Port Wollonga. It's right overlooking the ocean. As you can probably guess, it's like Mediterranean food. And at different points of the year, you can actually see whales from your table while you're having a great glass of SA wine, eating some amazing seafood as well. And then I am on to my final wine region, which is the Clare Valley. So all the wine regions I've spoken to you about today are all vastly different and probably for different sorts of people and people who like different sorts of wine. Clare Valley is really well known for its Riesling and cool climate wines. So if you ever see a bottle of Riesling and it has the Clare Valley written on it, buy it. It will always be good. I can almost guarantee it. The Clare Valley is definitely like a quiet achiever in terms of its wine. Its slogan is relax, breathe in. So that kind of sums up what this region is like. Yeah, it's really beautifully relaxed, really great for couples. One of the most famous things to do is called the Riesling Trail. So the Riesling Trail is a bike trail. It's 33 kilometers and there's over 30 wineries on this route. And it's predominantly flat. So it is great for people, you know, and you can hire electric bikes and things like that. You can do one-way hire. You know, if you have a few too many wines along the trail, you can get picked up by a taxi and things like that. And they're all about making the region really easy to get around. Yeah, definitely one of the best ways to see. There's some really quirky vineyards here, a few that come to mind. Mad Bastard, I didn't want to write that one on the screen, and then another one called Good Catholic Girl Wines, both quite eccentric, yeah, but really beautiful wines. For that Riesling trail as well, there's also some smaller loops and sections that you can do if you don't want to do the whole thing. A fun fact as well, this is kind of where the Clare Valley is where the screw cap revolution kind of started. So a group of winemakers from this region got together and were like, we don't want to use corks anymore. We're going to start using screw caps, and kind of it merged onto the rest of Australia from there as well. So they're my 4 wine regions that I wanted to talk about in SA. That is kind of it from there. If you want to go into anything more specific from what I've been talking about today, there is actually a whole course on the Aussie Specialist Program that is about our winery experiences. So if you want to deep dive on that, there's some more about the Queensland Islands as well if you want to get into that. But you know, the Aussie Specialist Program is always there if you want to deep dive a little bit more, or if you have clients that are coming to you with anything specific that they really need. That QR code there is to the Aussie Specialist Program if you are not signed up. My contact details are there if you ever need anything. But I know that was a massive whirlwind. I know there was a lot of information, but yeah, I hope you got a little bit out of it. And as I mentioned, you can contact me anytime if you have anything specific to go through.
I mean, that's just amazing. And that's exactly what we wanted from this, that, you know, a lot of you are experienced travel agents that have been selling Australia for many years, but we really wanted to go into more depth with some of those kind of destinations. A couple of things, some lovely comments, but a couple of questions. Is there a best time to do the Uluru signature walk, Jessie?
Yeah, so the great thing about Uluru is actually it's quite a good rate year-round destination because it's in that central Australia, even during kind of those shoulder months. It can have really quite cool nights and warm days and things like that. I wouldn't necessarily do it in the smack bang middle of summer, but kind of that shoulder period, if you just miss out, you know, autumn, spring and things like that, as well as winter, will be fantastic.
And I mean, it was really fantastic to really, I know we're a nation that loves wine, but I think, you know, what that really showed is how much choice. I mean, that was just South Australia. I mean, can you imagine the whole of Australia as well? So thank you so much for that, Jessie. I'm just going to quickly finish up with a little bit of updates from ANZCRO. Just to let you know, in the month of May, we have an exclusive with Qantas. So very apt with the whole kind of Australia presentation. So up until the 30th of May, if you book a Qantas trip with ANZCRO. You're thrown into a weekly draw to win £150 in vouchers. So depending on the seat class, you'll be thrown into the draw as many times depending on which one you book. This is through our tour operations. So a really good time. And I should mention, obviously we don't want to talk about the elephant in the room, but to give you an idea, you know, for March and April, we have actually hit our targets. So when I've analysed the figures, what we have found is that people are travelling. They're wanting to travel further down the line. So, which is what Australia is all about. You know, they want to take their time in working out what they actually want to do. However, they are wanting to look forward to something as well. So you'll definitely see that, and it's really much about inspiring your clients. So hopefully having an incentive like this will just help kind of push them across the line as well for that forward travel. Obviously, we also have our Australia brochure. We've got the digital brochure as well. And again, when we send the follow-up, we'll include the digital link to the brochure. And then we're always promoting itineraries for Australia. So please go onto our content hub. There's lots of itineraries and flyers and brochures and digital brochures. So there's a lot of things to help the trade. Remember, our business is travel agents. You know, we get our repeat business from you. It doesn't come from a client, it comes from you. So we want to support you as much as we can, which leads really nicely into our socials. You know, we have our agents group. We post in there pretty much every day. I mean, I think the most recent thing is we do have a nice Australia itinerary. All we want to do is make it easy for you. So literally copy and paste into your group, inspire your clients, drip feed the knowledge that you've learned today. You know, you are the experts and that's how they need to see you. And then, of course, all of our contact details for our res team. Remember, we have our own out of office team, especially when your clients are traveling out in Australia. So you have that reassurance, especially when weather might affect a sightseeing experience of some sort. You know, they won't be contacting you at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Our team will completely handle it. But yes, I mean, thank you so much again for taking the time to spend time with us, to learn about our destinations. We have a real passion for them, and to be working with Tourism Australia as well. You know, it really emphasizes the importance of a destination like Australia. You know, it's on the other side of the world, it's complicated. So you want to be really kind of supporting a tour operator like us that supports the trade as well. So thank you. I don't know if there are any final questions. You'll be all receiving a copy of the recording of this presentation with any links that we have as well. So that is it from us. So just a thank you to Jessie for giving up her time this morning for doing the presentation. And thank you, everybody. Any last minute questions? Oh, so really... All right. Let me just check to see if there's any.
Sure, I think there were a few questions in the Q&A.
Right, let's have a look. How many people can sleep on Pumpkin Island?
Yeah, so overall it's 34. So you can either hire, you can hire some of the cabins like individually. So there are 7 cabins on the island, or you can hire the whole thing out as well. Probably my preference would be to hire the whole thing out, grab a big group of friends. But yeah, you can definitely hire the smaller the cabins individually as well.
Which Southern Great Barrier Reef Island can you access by boat if clients don't want a light aircraft?
Yeah, so the main one that you can only get to by plane is Lady Elliot, and that is because of the fringing reef. Because of that reef access, you can't really get in by boat. So, but the other ones that I mentioned, Lady Musgrave, you know, all of that other ones, I think that image that I showed on that top Queensland slide had the main ones there. So I can send that to Shubra as well if you want to.
Is the sunrise culture only a summer thing in Sydney or winter too?
No, definitely not. I would say I think winters in Australia are some of the most beautiful times, especially on the East Coast. We have that incredible, you know, when you have one of those beautiful days here where it's really crisp and cool, but the sun is shining. That is what winter is like in Australia. So sunrise culture all year round. I used to live in the eastern beaches of Sydney. We'd still be down there at 5:30, 6 in the morning, having a run or going to the gym, getting a coffee before work. So it's definitely all year round, and it's definitely one of the things I miss a little bit. I definitely don't get up that early living in London anymore. That's something I need to get used to as well.
Oh yeah, this is going to be your first summer, right, Jessie, in the UK?
Second one.
Oh, second. Oh, so you know what to prepare for. Yeah,
I'm excited.
I mean, you were lucky. You were lucky last year. Let's
People
hope.
keep telling me.
Let's hope for this year. Some great questions there. So thank you, everybody. Yeah, that seems to have covered it all. Again, appreciate all your time. You'll get a copy of the recording. And yeah, keep on pushing Australia. Really appreciate that, everybody. Thank you.
Thanks, Shubham. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.